Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Turn Zero. Over the last 4 weeks, our players have been building lists for all factions, and we've been putting those out on the Turn Zero lists minisodes on the Legion 99 cast. They've been building them like they're going to a store tournament, and we are here today to play the first rounds of Turn Zero at that tournament with those lists. Before we kick them off, let's take a look at the map that our players will be using. This week, our map was brought to us by our resident expert, Nick. Nick, as the gifted map maker, can you tell me a little bit about this map?
Hey, thanks. Nice compliments. So this map is, some mostly 3D printed stuff that I printed myself from Imperial Terrain, from their Ancient Ruins set, I believe. A lot of this stuff I've had lying around a while. I recently spruced it up, added some of these light cover area terrain pieces with the tall grass. I think they came out pretty nice. There's a lot of large ruins, so a lot of heavy cover. But it should be a really fun table to play on.
Awesome. Any significant positions that you built in there?
Man, I love the design of the big storehouse, the ruined storehouse,
Mm-hmm.
and the little walls. Lots of jump units will have a lot of fun on this map. Some really interesting approaches through the inside of that warehouse, and then even the circle ruins. A lot of this terrain's really playable.
Awesome.
Really, yeah, adds a lot to the game.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Now that we've got an idea what that is, our lists are locked in. We've gone and we've run the numbers on the first round pairing, and this week or this month, it's going to be our two guests head to head. Top Ryan versus Brett. Rebels versus Droids. Paired up. This time, our droid faction squeaked out the bid with 3 points underneath the rebels. Brett, I assume you're taking blue with that.
If you don't want it, I'll take it. It's cool.
Awesome. So, with your talk to me about your table edge choice and what you're thinking about looking at this table and your opponent's list.
All right. I mean, even just focusing on my own list,
Yeah.
I know what battle cards that I have.
Yep.
And I have bombing run, I have recover the supplies, and a lot of those right there just tell me I want the top, so that if I got recover, I can grab the box and dip into that big old building out of line of sight, or Maul can sit there and wait for you to come to the center,
Yep.
and then come out and kill you. Like that is the focus point, and that's why I'm taking the top.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Blue's going to take the top on this one. With that, let us do some battle cards. They are coming out. Our players are looking at them as they get sorted out, and I'm going to read them off. At the top, we've got hostage exchange, bombing run, and payload. For conditions, war weary, supply drop, and minefield. And finally, they're going to have to choose between hemmed in, rollout, and major offensive. Blue player Brett, you've got the first veto. What are you thinking?
All of those look really good for me. It's really like it's always so hard for me to cut cards in this deck because everything works great for my army. But what's gonna hurt his army the most is what I'm looking at here. And right now I think I'm gonna pass.
Okay. Keeping it pass. All right. So blue passes for the first pick, keeping hostage exchange, war weary, and hemmed in. Ryan, you've walked up to the table. You've got a maul and a tank and staffs. I think these are all things that we talked about you didn't really want to
Yeah.
see. What are you thinking looking at this map, this table, and then this battle deck?
So I'm actually not too terribly upset about my table edge.
Okay, cool.
I can use some of those ruins that are a little bit further out on my major offensive corner. If that's maybe where we go. But I have a lot of nice infiltrate options, and I can deal with one tank and I can deal with one Jedi. Whether I can deal with them at the same time is going to be the question of the day. With the opening of a pass, if we look at hemmed in, I kind of like it. Normally, I'm not a huge fan of hemmed in as red player, but I get to use a lot of the line of sight blockers that he has kind of against him for my approach. And that big hollow ruined temple is actually going to be a rather nice maybe line of sight or safe passage for some of my quicker, speedier units. Um, Obviously, though, I think I have to start off by flipping over that war weary card.
Yep.
I can't give him that big old edge um, of not caring about a condition that only I have to care about.
Makes sense. All right. So Warriors out. Back to you for your second pick, Brett. You've got hostage exchange, supply drop, and hemmed in is what we're playing right now.
At this point, looking at the table and whatnot, I think I'm gonna have to cut the hemmed in card.
Oh, okay.
That definitely gives me more of an advantage and puts him more into that far corner behind those walls that you can't see me right away. And I think I'm gonna go with that.
Awesome. Makes sense. All right. We got a pass, we got a condition, we got a deployment cut. Our final cut goes back to red player. Ryan, what are you thinking? You got to do hostage, supply drop, and rollout. You're going to take away his vehicle advantage to give him even, for hostage exchange, or are you going to give him an even bigger vehicle advantage with bombing run?
Yeah, that's the trick. And I've got two decent bomb carriers in my Mandos.
Yeah.
B1s tend not to do great against them. STABs do great against everything, and they can outrun Maul until Maul hurts himself. But I think rather than going bombing run, I do think hostage is the best card because it can make him kind of come to me. I've got some shenanigans with some more fast units that can actually interact with hostages than he can. Speed 2 Mandalorians are still okay if they have to go grab a hostage at the last minute. So I think I get rid of a rollout and we play a major supply drop hostage.
Nice.
I really like that big curved wall piece in my major offensive corner that's just outside my deployment zone.
Mm-hmm.
With my ability to infiltrate and having some heavy cover up there could be really helpful for casting and pathfinders, and really limits what his steps are going to be able to see if I make a push forward right at the start.
Nice, makes sense. And what we talked about a couple of times on various list building, that major offensive gives that's that nice neutral advantage for everyone at that point.
Yeah.
All right, so it's we got a settled game state here.
I do think you're forgetting one thing. With hostage, you're going to limit your infiltration really bad.
It's true. It is true.
Yeah. A great Biston player knows that he doesn't rely on the infiltration though exclusively.
Well, and the fun thing you can do, especially with diagonal corners, kind of like major offensive, is you don't have to deploy your opponent's hostage and scout them like directly towards you. You can choose where your own bubble goes.
Yeah.
And I've gotten some weird looks from people when you push them to the north or to the south rather than directly away from the deployment zone.
Well, those weird looks might have been justified in the end, but we will see. This game with the Separatists in the blue position is going to be trying to take over the Rebels, doing hostage exchange, supply drop, and major offensive. Brett, how are you feeling about the game at this point?
I'm feeling really good. My tank is got he can go over just about everything out there, except for that big centerpiece. And so being able to sideswipe into that little circular piece there and getting heavy cover, not that it matters much, but it helps. And being able to pummel things in a clear line of sight into his deployment zone. STAB's got plenty of places where they can run and still hide behind things. I'm feeling really good, really confident.
Awesome.
And like I said, every time I kill something, it's always a trade up for me. So.
Nice. All right, Ryan, how are you feeling?
Of these cards, how they shook out, this is definitely not the arrangement I'm most scared of. So I think it's going to come down to how aggressively the STABs posture in that first turn, where I'm allowed to infiltrate, where I'm not, or even really if I need to. I think it's a big crux of this game will come down to can Maul get on my hostage carrier before Sabine and Clan Ren can come rescue them, and that'll be a big deciding factor. But this AAT is going to be a problem to deal with, which the main way I deal with AATs is just don't and shoot everything else. Let's take out the thumbs of the list, and we'll see where we're at with 4 vehicles. That leaves only, I think it's 11 activations, so that means there's only 6 activations I actually have to worry about killing, make him drop his hostage, and cower in the corner.
There you go. Makes sense. And in my lifelong experience as a Rebel player, walking out of turn 0 without a feeling of existential dread is a win any day to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our other panelists, Nick and Mike, any additional thoughts for these guys going into this, out of this turn 0?
Yeah, so one thing that's going to come up here is if Cassian decides to infiltrate, you can kind of choke-proof the Mandalorians here with Clan Ren by promoting them to commander. So there's a potential for a little bit of that, corner case to come up there that could really work in Ryan's favor, because if you're not choking the 35-point minis, it feels pretty good.
I really like this matchup. It looks like this would be a lot of fun to cast.
Yeah.
That's a droid list that I would love to play. I really Rebels always have that uphill fight, and I think this is another one. But yeah, Cassian, infiltrate, hostage exchange, Mandalorians. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of neat interactions here. So hopefully, good luck.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. This has been a great matchup. We'll be back after a short break to see Nick and Mike bring our Imperial and Republic list to a turn 0. Talk to you in a minute. The presenting sponsor of Turn 0 is 6UP Supply. 6UP makes gaming products that bring a deeper sense of immersion to your tabletop. From premium mind tokens to silhouettes to turn counters, check them out at 6UP Supply or Etsy to be among the first to get their latest product, Illuminated Supply Crates. Now back to the show. And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Turn 0. Our last matchup was the Separatists and the Rebels, and we're back with our Imperials and our Republic players, Nick and Mike. We flipped a coin because these two both brought 800-point list, pretty much counting on being the red player.
Yeah, a little bit.
And Mike,
What is the bid?
Mike won the toss and has decided that he's going to be blue. Mike, as the blue player looking at this map, what are your thoughts?
I feels pretty good. I'm a little happy that I get the blue because I do want to take the top side of the table here. Okay. As much as I like the bottom half with the cover that I can provide for my clones and the BARCs that can jump over the walled section, clone trooper token sharing does require line of sight. So I'm a little concerned that I would need to actually keep my clones a little too far back to be effective, at least at the top with the giant, I guess, ruined storage facility. Did you say it was called? It's open, so you can see through it, and I can cohere a clone into there, give them some heavy cover, and still keep the token sharing going.
Cool. Makes sense. So you're going with the top then?
I'm going to take the top half.
Okay, awesome. We have done the turn 0. I'm sending the cards to the players now. I promise I shuffled the deployments up, but the deployments again, we've got hemmed in first position, advanced positions in second, and now we have major offensive still in the third position. Okay. For the objectives, intercept the transmissions, payload, and key positions, and finally conditions, clear conditions, supply drop, and fortified positions. Mike, you have the blue player and the first veto. What are you going to do?
I'm going to cut hemmed in because it takes away all the advantages that I just talked about. And I'd like to actually take advantage of that ruined storage facility to use the token sharing and the line of sight blocking cover.
Awesome. Pretty easy, straightforward on that. Okay, next veto goes over to Nick as the red player. Nick, talk to me a little bit about how you're feeling about this board, this matchup, before you get into your veto.
I mean, I definitely would have rather had the top. I really like that large storage facility. But now that I have the bottom, and he cut hemmed in, I'm looking at advanced positions. I think I'm keeping that for now at least. Okay. I'm looking if I cut intercept transmissions, he probably cuts payload for key positions. I don't know if that's something I want to deal with Anakin. So I'm probably going to leave intercept the transmissions there for at least now.
Yep.
Clear conditions or supply drop. Supply drop benefits him a little bit more than it benefits me. He does have bark speeder, so he can use those repair guns. But that's kind of like, so looking back, I don't know that I want to give Anakin that scout move.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to just cut advanced position and go to major offensive
Makes sense.
right now.
Nice clean cut across. Both of you getting
Playing
rid of
major offensive.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, back over to Mike for your second veto. You're looking at
So,
intercept, clear conditions, and you're definitely playing on major offensive now.
Yeah. As Brett so eloquently put in our first list building episode, one of the things you're doing when you're building a list is figuring out which your army does better than an opponent's. I think I play payload better than the Imperials with the Jedi. I think I play key positions better than the Imperials. However, they have more guns than I do, and I think intercept is probably the one area that Nick will outgun me and probably overwhelm me just under the sheer weight of 4 shore troopers and their dice. So I'm going to cut intercept transmissions.
Okay.
With payload, it's nice. If we get stuck on payload or key positions, we're going to have to cluster at some point. And with the 2 free orders per turn plus fire support shenanigans with Anakin and Pierce 3, I can chew the Imperials up.
Yeah, makes sense.
So we'll cut intercept.
All right. Back to you for the final veto, Nick. Right now. You're playing payload, clear conditions, and major offensive. You can either shift it to key positions in the clear, or you can keep it on payload on supply drop, or you can just leave it as is. What are you thinking?
I don't think I'm cutting clear conditions for supply drop. I think supply drop just benefits that list so much more. Those wounds are just so. He doesn't have a lot of wounds as it is, especially trooper wounds. And if he gets those bactas, that's just that's a huge win for him if he gets even one of them.
Yeah.
I have to outgun him, so I'm looking at am I cutting payload for key positions and hoping that I can get enough shots and throw enough dice at that clone ball on Anakin just to wear it down enough. It's really a tough decision. But like I kind of look at it like I think we're gonna keep payload here.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna pass.
All right.
I really don't think the risk of getting to like a round 6 and having to deal with Anakin versus Callus. I don't think I want to deal with that. So yeah, I think we're going to just pass here. We're gonna keep clear conditions and we're gonna keep payload.
All right. Locking it in, the Republic is taking on the Imperials, and they're going to be playing payload, clear conditions, and major offensive on our Temple Ruins map. Mike, with this result, how are you feeling about the game?
I feel pretty good. I don't feel amazing. I was really hoping Nick was going to cut 2 key positions because if you look at the map there, my side has a lot more heavy cover, and he would have to just kind of stand in the open. So if I'm taking Pierce shots into the open when he doesn't have any cover, it feels even better. But I feel confident. It's kind of tough to tell without seeing the markers what terrain piece I would actually go for. But it looks like I'm probably going towards that temple in the top right-hand corner. I feel pretty good about that. I mean, it doesn't look like it's that far from my bomb cart to go. On Nick's side, he's probably going to have to go towards one of those circular ruins on the far side. And there is that line of sight blocking piece that I can just stick Anakin behind and say, you have to walk towards my Jedi. I don't need to spend the time chasing you.
Makes sense. Nick, how are you feeling?
As good as can be expected. I said before when we were building the list that like clones terrify me the most and Force users terrified me a lot. This is I got both, which is fine. Like this should still be fun. I have a lot of dice. I'm hoping that I can take out enough of those clone minis, maybe even get lucky and get Anakin off the table before I really have to start pushing that cart into his army. But yeah, if I have to get that card into Anakin late in the game, I'm gonna have a problem. Imperials don't have impervious.
That makes sense. And Imperial players are learning, like I said, every good Rebel player knows in the last segment. If you walk out of turn 0 not feeling existential dread, it's a win. So welcome to that world, Imperials. Rest of our panel, Brett and Ryan, what are you thinking about these guys and their turn 0?
I think this is probably the best combo out of these, 9 cards that Nick could have asked for. Anytime you can make the clones have to get out and take the map by pushing a cart, moving them around, that's going to be a great thing for his triple snipers. High velocity rounds, if he can make Anakin not be where he wants to and push the cart, that's going to be a great thing. And the downside, I think, of Mike's list of taking that map is he's just sitting on 3 core and 3 strike teams, and that's not a lot of wounds for that big gun line to have to chew through. And I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think it's his best out of these 9 cards you could have asked.
Awesome. Brett, what do you think?
No, I'm looking at the map again, and that key position is those crates, which is closer to the Empire side, I think, than the Rebels. And they would have to come out of all that heavy cover, not just out, but they'd have to like double move around that building because it's so big to get to that position. I think if key positions with all the shore gun line and whatnot, and how much long range firepower he has, that he can sit in that lower section of that temple and just punish him for having to come out to get that objective. And I think that really would probably be my choice.
Okay, so you
would be to push into the key positions.
Gotcha.
just because of how much firepower I have.
Yeah.
That he has to double move to get to those boxes that I could punish him for. And the BARCs are going to be flying around. It's really hard to keep speeders, even with everything.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep them from not going anywhere. So they will have to come out more likely ahead of the rest of his army. And so your firepower can knock them off first. And then he's down 2 more activations. So it really puts the hurt on the clones by forcing them to come to you, where you can just jump off the wall and you're basically at the key position.
Makes sense. Well, as anyone who's watched this show for any amount of time knows, I can't stand payload, although I am trying to learn it, and I did end up having to play it in like 3 of my Invader League games. So
There you go.
I like
There you
good insights from a veteran Imperial gunliner about other alternatives. But here we have it. This has been a great month of turn zeros. I want to thank our guests Ryan and Brett for sticking with us throughout the entire month. As always, check out Brett and anything Central Cal or Northern California at Black Rowan Games, and Ryan at anything STABcast, where you can often hear him berating our sometimes co-host Tim on a weekly basis.
Yeah, he's wrong. He's just
Rightfully
wrong.
so.
We'll be back next week with this the start of a new cycle and a new lineup. Look forward to hearing any thoughts and feedback and updates. Send any questions out to us. Find us on the Discord, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone.